Today, things get racist and political. If you didn't get an ad before this video, then now you know why. Let's throw this log like I'm throwing ad revenue on the fire. Oh boy, here we go. It was late August 2016, and political polarization in the US was reaching a peak as the election drew closer and closer. Hex was busy studying to get her driver's license, so me and Boblin decided to look for an online D&D group. For those who don't know who Hex and Boblin are, they were in a former story about Steven Universe. Anywho, we were able to find a group with a GM within 2 hours, and they were ready to play a one-shot, so we were in luck. Or, at least so we thought. The rules were simple. We roll our stats with a d20, then we get starting equipment, but no gold. We also start with a non-homebrew magical item. The DM asked us for our character sheet, but right after he saw Boblin's, he told us, "No goblins or orcs." Why? Because they will be the villains of this campaign. Yeah, but why can't one of them be in the good team? It could bring an interesting narrative into the game. Here we go, the only black guy in the group trying to push diversity over storytelling. I have a story. I won't change it because you want to push an agenda or narrative. If your opponent brings race into a topic that has nothing to do with it, ignore it. Stick to your argument because they're losing theirs. Boblin 2013. How does a goblin who's willing to fight against his own kin for the right cause ruin the story? Wouldn't it show how noble the cause is if even people who would side with the enemy believe in it? Whatever, man. You want to play a filthy goblin? Okay, roll a d20. If your intelligence is higher than 12, you can play as a goblin. Boblin rolls the die, and 19. No way am I letting you have 19 intelligence. My Asimar has 16, so there's no way a goblin is more intelligent than an angel. Fine, let's switch intelligence stats then. I don't really care. Note, if he says that he doesn't really care, then he actually is pretty angry. And you are one mistake away from him wrecking your campaign in a sadistically beautiful way. Boblin now has an intelligence of 16, and a grudge against the DMPC. Well, this isn't looking good. We all make our characters. So there is, I swear I'm not making this up, Dolan, the orange-skinned, blonde-haired Aasimar paladin. Sela, the human paladin, and Rova, the dragonborn paladin. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Boblin was playing a rogue. Even though we had 3 paladins, none of them even considered to pick up even a single healing spell. No cure wounds, no aid, and of course, absolutely no revivify. I'm really missing Hex right now. Well, fine. I'll take one for the team, I guess. I'll play an elf cleric, and according to the GM, healing isn't a manly role, so if I want to play healer, my character has to be a woman. So sure. Now, I don't really care either. The game didn't even start, and the DM managed to get on both our bad sides. The session starts with us in King Dolan's throne room, who explains that the city-state is in danger. The elven and human colonists who founded the city around the magical, undepletable oasis live in constant fear from the invading orcs and goblins that live in the desert. He, as the king, however, foresaw that those filthy sand people can't be trusted, and when the city was built, he surrounded it with a wall to keep them out. And only he, The king has the key, aka a magical runestone, to open the gate. For 6 years, the wall held out, but the terrorists are getting bolder and bolder every year. And what's worse, there is now a threat within the walls too. Elven women and men. The DMPC tells us how elven women are nothing more than ladies of the night who just want to take orcs for a ride instead of marrying their own kind, while the elven men are complacent in seeing their women with orcs. Yep, he includes his big speech with saying that the king needs the help of the adventurers to finally get rid of both the invading terrorists and the race traitors, because the citizens are so inherently good, kind, and meek that they aren't fit to be warriors. He tells us that we will be paid handsomely. We will all get our own houses in the city along with citizenship if we succeed, and we won't have any problems for the rest of our lives. Then he turns towards Boblin and says, "Yes, this includes you too, Goblin." At this point, Boblin sends me the DM I was waiting for since the game began. "Dude, let's get racist." Now, I think it's important to state here, when Boblin says, "let's get racist," it means one of 3 things. Let's go play Warhammer 40,000, or any kind of strategy game really. Let's go and play World of Warcraft, or let's ruin someone's fun. The choice here was obvious. And don't get me wrong, if this guy was just simply a jerk, we would have just left. But during all of this, he constantly made idiotic and racist remarks out of character, calling the orcs rioters, terrorists, even going so far as describing their clothing to be similar to Antifa, and saying stuff like, "Orcs are only 14% of the desert's population, yet they commit 40% of the crimes." So yeah, nuclear revenge it is. The session continues, with the first half basically being a detective mission where we investigate which citizens sympathize with the outside forces and imprison them while the paladins keep throwing racist remarks around. But that's okay. We're already brewing our revenge in private messages. Needless to say, citizens are extremely rude with Boblin for, well, being a goblin. They also throw remarks at me for being an elven lady of the night, while praising the paladins for doing God's work. Meh. After all the suspects are imprisoned, we take a long rest and prepare to attack the orc and goblin camp nearby. Our plan is set in motion. Since we had a healer, the encounter was designed to be a bit harder. Sela goes down. I don't heal. He fails all his death saves. I still don't heal. At this point, the DM questions me out of character, why? To which I said, I'm preserving my healing magic. King Dolan is on low HP, so I heal him up a bit. I think you guys can see where this is going. Rova goes down too, fails his death save once, twice, thrice, and he's out. When they once again ask why I don't heal, I tell them I have Revivify. Besides, won't there be more glory if you gave your life for the cause? Now that King Dolan and Boblin are the last ones standing, I keep Boblin on high HP and Dolan on low HP. There is only one orc remaining, but Dolan goes down. He fails his first death save. Then he fails his second death save. and before he failed his third death save, Boblin kills the orc. Dolan is on the ground, expecting me to heal him, as Boblin says, "I attempt to cut the king's neck." What? You said that PvP is allowed, so I attempt to make good use of it. No! Why would you betray me? You said you were one of the good ones. You said it yourself. All goblins are evil, and I never claimed otherwise. All I said is if there was a good one and joined your cause, it would show how noble it is. Boblin rolls the die, and would you look at that, an 18, which is more than enough for someone making death throws. The DM starts to scream how Boblin is done for when the cleric revives him. You mean if I revive you, I corrected. You said so yourself. Elven women like orcs, so for my character, this is the best possible outcome. No, buddy, you're staying dead, along with your friends, and I'll take that rune to open the gates. After I said this, both of us were kicked out of the Skype call and blocked. I think it's kinda sad when the DM tries to force parallels from their idea of the real world into a fantasy world. I believe it shows lack of imagination when you can't separate the two. As fun as it may sound to try and ruin the game of someone who is on your bad side, this story could have easily backfired if the DM tried to rig the game in his favor, like making the enemy focus on Boblin, or if dice rolls were fudged. What do you all think about this situation? If you were OP, what would you have done? Moving on to some audience appreciation. First up, we have top comment, which goes to Satyr Ghost once more. Can anyone stop the streak? For this week's Horde board, we have some new additions. Thanks for paying extra attention during the story, all. This week's fan art spotlight goes to Dragonfire Soul, our other mod in Discord. Today's dragon voice line is
Rubber Baby Bucky Bumpers.
Thank you all for all your support, and be sure to interact with other fans on the subreddit or the Discord. Stay tuned for even more horror stories.